you're not going to last very long if you don't have that hunger and drive.
Mm-hmm.
On the humility side, I mean, again, you've got to really care for those relationships, and it goes across the board for everybody that you work with. If you don't just stay humble,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not above anybody else. None of us are.
Yeah.
So goes a long way.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And the drive, the last one, so true, passion and drive. I really love it. You sandwiched the whole thing between the passion from the start, the whys and why we want to do. Really love it. You sandwiched the whole thing between the passion from the start, the whys and why we want to do what we are doing. And it's a business, I mean, it's a big, money making and helping serving our, investors, because if they don't bring the money, we can't do anything. So investors are the king and residents are the king, I say. After investors, we buy the property, and now the residents are the king. They can make or break our, business. Then we come, of course, if we are vertically integrated, the community managers, the leasing people, and maintenance people, they are the key right there. If we don't give the experience to them, right, to the residents,
That's right.
and the vendors, amazing contractors and vendors. And then we come with lenders and brokers, real estate brokers. And then we are at the totem pole at the bottom, our company and our families and all, right? But if we serve everybody from the top down, we'll be able to do well, right? Yeah.
I think, Vinney, the common theme there is it's a long game. It's not transactional.
Yeah.
It can start with your resident. If you place a tenant, resident in your apartment community, and they decide it's not a great experience and they move off, as opposed to somebody living there for the next 5 years, you're going to have that turnover costs and vacancy and so forth. So you got to take care of them the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And your investors, if you are so focused on bringing somebody into a deal because you've got to raise capital and you don't execute that business plan properly, you're not bringing them into the next deal.
So true. So true. Oh my gosh. You hit the nail on the head, because I have maybe 437 investors now, and they have given me 161 million or something like that, right? But many of them are repeat. So they gave the money, closed the cycle, took the money, then reinvested again and again and again. I think my top investors have close to 5 million with me, 5 million, 4 million. And, one of the reasons I think is because I set the standard at 100,000 14 years back. And I never took anything less than 25 or 50, 100, less than 100. And then when we got into 100, 250, and 500, like a tier investing, I call it, which is really served well also, then the investors get 1% extra payoff, so that helps them to kind of go a little higher. Let's dig deeper into, the second one. I know the first syndication is the hardest one, isn't it? So how hard was it? Can we get into that? Yeah. Tell us.
Yes. So it was hard, but it wasn't in the beginning. Okay. I'll tell you why. Sometimes being naive is, they say ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah.
So before I did my first syndication, I actually did a multifamily deal that I basically took down myself. I opened my checkbook and I bought the biggest apartment complex I could afford.
Yep.
That got me into the multifamily world, but it wasn't syndication, right?
Yeah.
So at least I had a little bit of foundation behind me that I could operate a property very well and it could generate a lot of returns, which helped develop some of that credibility and so forth. When I started to think about syndication, I started modeling a few folks that I had a lot of respect for, and I observed what they were doing. I went to all their local meetups. I studied their underwriting. I attended webinars for deal pitches. I did everything I could to just immerse myself in it to get more prepared to launch my own syndication. And then from there, I realized that okay, I could go out there and pitch a deal, but then what? I mean, I need somebody to kind of be there to maybe fill a couple gaps, maybe mentor me through the process.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a good friend that had been doing this for a while, and I brought him on essentially as a balance sheet partner.
Mm-hmm.
And he also served as a bit of a mentor and brought some credibility and experience to the deal. So I felt that was the missing component.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was great. I didn't know whether I was doing, good or bad. I raised like 1.4 million in about 2 weeks.
Wow.
And yeah, that was great. But I didn't know if that was great or not. I just knew I had to do it. Right.
Hi, you are listening to Syndication Made Easy podcast. We will be right back after this short break.
Hi, thank you so much. This is Vinney Chopra, and thank you for subscribing to my podcast and YouTube channel and Facebook pages and all the great things, and LinkedIn. Connect with me. I come live to you every Friday at 9:30 Pacific with Vinney and Bo show. Please also look at that. And also the podcast, which is my apartment syndication made easy. The book I wrote a couple of years back became international top seller on Amazon International now. And then we like to bring great guests for you every week or twice a week sometime to give you a lot of great knowledge. So please subscribe. You give us 5-star reviews on the iTunes. The better the guests we can bring, and our ranking will go higher also. Thanks again for following us and really getting the most out of it. Please comment, like, share, because we would love to bring better and better material for you. That's exactly how much I raised. My first deal was 1,150,000, by the way. It's been 14 years back, something like that, But you're so right. What you're saying is it's essential that we learn, we really educate ourselves, because the biggest fear I remember starting 14 years back was the fear of doing something wrong and not being able to really come out of it, right? So having a mentor, like you said, you're a balance sheet partner. I like that, but you use the word, because you do need somebody who has a little bit bigger or same size of pocketbook, so that you both can actually sign on the loan. That way you could get bigger loan, right? It's the huge part, and the liquidity of cash and escrows and everything which goes with the whole thing. So having somebody it's a team sport, just like I mentioned, I think I wouldn't be here where I am today if we didn't have a small team, and we really helped each other and made sure that we were motivated. Like you said, there are ups and downs like crazy, to be able to find time every week or every 3 times a week or something, because we were all W-2 people, back then. And so it's good to have that team, working together.
Yeah. But it was funny back then when I was doing this, and this was like 2019 or so, not too long ago, but long enough where, nowadays everybody's got a portal, and, there's marketing like crazy, and it wasn't that long ago, but I mean, back then some people had a portal and some people didn't. And like for me, I was using Dropbox and password protected, PDF files, and it was extremely cumbersome. And I was like, how would somebody manage a really large syndication with, 100 investors? And, it was just, I had to think systems and how could I make this better? And so now, after having done 4 syndications, we have a portal, and it's all very streamlined, and, logic in all of our documents, and, it's running very well.
I love it. You're just bringing me back where I used to actually never personalize my emails. Still now, after 15 years, sometimes I just send it, dear friends and partners of so-and-so property, something like that, right? And they like it because they know many times it's the same letter they're getting, just their first name is put on it, right? We do have Active Campaign, MailChimp, and everything. But the other part is like after I've done 38 syndications or so, I find that if you're candid with our investors, they want to see the results, right? They don't get bogged down with the portals, like you said, things like, we do have portals now and so forth, which is fantastic. But we had 94 LLCs, I remember, at the peak, which is like taking care of so many K1s and so many this and that. But, whatever works, right? System has to be. And now we have so many great syndication pros. We have Next, I think Next Investors, another
Invest
one.
Next.
Invest Next, which is very cheap, I understand, right? We are with Appfolio right now also in my company anyway. But no, this is good to have. So what else can you share with our audience which can really proof them and say, hey, I want to really get into multifamily and I want to have, that serving attitude. What would you say? What comes to your mind?
So when you say get into multifamily, are you saying like to get in a lead, sponsor a deal, or more on the investment side?
Good point. I teach that subject, right? The book, I think I have a book over here. I always have the book nearby. Apartment syndication, I find I wrote a book actually, Made Easy. I should write a book, not Made Easy, actually. I know I've been saying that, it will take me a lot of time to do that. But the thing is, you're right. People can segregate the syndication, and a lot more people are able to raise money nowadays, legally, of course, because you can get paid, commissions or anything like that. But by being fund of fund or being general partner and being able to do the due diligence, and, because everybody in your LLC needs to be raising money, right? From syndication attorneys that they say. So, no, you're right. So it's somebody needs to decide but the first of all is to kind of build some credibility, right? Doing the multifamily themselves or becoming a partner with somebody, right?
I think it starts with that first characteristic that we talked about, which is passion. Is that, if all you're doing is you're looking at multifamily from a financial returns perspective, you might as well just take your money and put it with a good operator and not worry about the business and just invest. And there's nothing wrong with that. I do that. I'm a limited partner in deals and it's great. I trust those operators, getting a very nice return. But the passion for me is